On May 24, 1976, inside the ancient splendor of St. Peter's Basilica in Vatican City, Pope Paul VI placed the red biretta on the head of Bishop Dominic Ekandem, formally creating him Cardinal Priest of San Marcello. The ceremony was solemn and historic. Ekandem, 58 years old at the time, became the first Nigerian Catholic cardinal and the first West African cardinal in the 2,000-year history of the Roman Catholic Church. His elevation was not merely personal honor, but a profound symbol of transformation. For centuries, the Catholic Church in Africa had been led by European missionaries who evangelized, established institutions, and governed dioceses. Indigenous Africans were converts, catechists, and eventually priests, but rarely bishops, and never ordained as cardinals. Ekandem's red hat represented the Church's recognition that African Catholicism had matured from mission field to equal partner in global church leadership. His appointment affirmed that Africans could shepherd their own people, lead their own dioceses, and participate in selecting future popes as members of the College of Cardinals. For Nigerian Catholics and Christians across Africa, Ekandem's elevation was a moment of immense pride, validation that their faith was authentic and that their leadership was legitimate. His journey from a small village in southeastern Nigeria to the highest ranks of church leadership demonstrated how far African Catholicism had come in just decades. But Ekandem's significance extended beyond symbolism. Over nearly 5 decades of priestly and episcopal ministry, he built Catholic structures across Nigeria, founded the country's first indigenous missionary society, led ecumenical Christian unity efforts, and shaped generations of priests and bishops who continue to do his work long after his passing. In this edition of Back in History, we explore Cardinal Dominic Ekandem's remarkable life and enduring legacy, examining his early life in Obio Ibiono in present-day Akwa Ibom State during the expansion of Catholic missions in southeastern Nigeria, his missionary formation and historic ordination as one of the first indigenous Ibibio priests in 1947, his rapid rise to become auxiliary bishop of Calabar at the age of 36, his leadership as first bishop of Ikot Ekpene diocese, where he expanded parishes and institutions, his elevation to cardinal in 1976 as the first Nigerian and first West African to reach this rank, his national leadership as president of the Catholic Bishops' Conference and founding president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, his founding of the Missionary Society of St. Paul to make Nigeria a mission-sending nation, his service in Abuja and retirement, and his legacy as pioneer of indigenous Catholic leadership whose life bridged the missionary era and the age of African church autonomy. Welcome to this edition of Back in History. Dominic Ekandem was born on June 23, 1917, in Obio Ibiono, a village in what is now Akwa Ibom State in southeastern Nigeria. He was of Ibibio ethnicity, born into the family of Chief Ekandem Etok. His birth occurred during a transformative period in the region's history. Catholic missionaries had arrived in southeastern Nigeria in the late 19th century, establishing missions, schools, and hospitals. By the time of Ekandem's birth, Christianity was spreading rapidly among the Ibibios, Efiks, and Anang people, competing with traditional religion and offering new paths through education. Young Ekandem was baptized in 1926 at the age of 9, formally entering the Catholic Church. His early education took place in Catholic mission schools, which were central to the Church's evangelization strategy. These schools provided Western education that was increasingly valued while simultaneously catechizing students in Christian faith. The mission schools produced the first generation of educated southeastern Nigerians, many of whom became teachers, catechists, and eventually Catholic priests. Ekandem excelled in his studies, showing both intellectual ability and spiritual devotion that marked him for possible priestly vocation. The Catholic Church in Nigeria during Ekandem's youth was entirely led by European missionaries, primarily from Ireland, France, and other European countries. These missionaries had dedicated their lives to evangelization in Africa, enduring tropical diseases, isolation, and cultural challenges. They established the institutional foundations of Nigerian Catholicism, including dioceses, seminaries, schools, and hospitals. But they also controlled all significant positions in the church. African Catholics were converts and assistants, but rarely leaders. The priesthood was theoretically open to Africans, but few were ordained, and those who were ordained faced skepticism about their capabilities from some European clergy who questioned whether Africans could maintain priestly discipline and celibacy. Despite these prejudices, African vocations to the priesthood were encouraged by more progressive missionaries who recognized that the church in Africa would never truly flourish until it was led by Africans. Seminaries were established to train indigenous clergy. Bigard Memorial Seminary in Enugu, founded in 1924, became the premier institution for priestly formation in southeastern Nigeria. Dominic Ekandem entered Bigard Memorial Seminary to pursue priestly formation. The seminary provided rigorous philosophical and theological education modeled on European seminaries. Students studied Latin, scripture, theology, church history, and canon law. They were formed in priestly spirituality, emphasizing prayer, celibacy, obedience to the church, and pastoral care. Ekandem's years at Bigard Memorial Seminary in Enugu prepared him intellectually and spiritually for the priesthood. He was known for discipline, intelligence, and deep piety. He was also seen as a natural leader, even in his early years in formation. On December 7, 1947, Dominic Ekandem was ordained a Catholic priest. His ordination was profoundly significant. He became one of the earliest indigenous priests in the Calabar ecclesiastical province and the first priest from the Ibibio, Efik, and Anang region. At the time of his ordination, indigenous Nigerian priests were still rare. Most parishes were led by European missionaries. Ekandem's ordination represented hope that African clergy would eventually lead their own communities. His priesthood was not merely a personal achievement but a milestone for his entire ethnic community and the broader Nigerian church. Following ordination, Father Ekandem served in various pastoral and educational roles. He was assigned to parish ministry in mission areas where he celebrated Mass, administered sacraments, educated the converts in the teachings of the church, and provided pastoral care. His assignments gave him intimate knowledge of the spiritual needs and cultural context of southeastern Nigerian Catholics. Beyond parish work, Ekandem was entrusted with priestly formation, a recognition of his intellectual capabilities and spiritual maturity. He became rector of Queen of Apostles Seminary in Afarabong in present-day Akwa Ibom State, responsible for training future priests and future leaders for the Nigerian society. As rector, he emphasized discipline, academic rigor, moral integrity, and deep spiritual life. He understood that the future of the Nigerian church depended on well-formed indigenous clergy who could lead with competence and holiness. His students remembered him as demanding but fair, committed to excellence, and deeply invested in their formation. On February 7, 1954, just 7 years after his priestly ordination, Father Ekandem was consecrated auxiliary bishop of Calabar at the remarkably young age of 36. This appointment was extraordinary. He became one of the first indigenous Catholic bishops in Nigeria and one of the youngest bishops in all of Africa. The decision to consecrate African bishops represented a major shift in church's policy. For decades, Rome had been cautious about appointing African bishops, citing concerns about readiness and capability. But by the 1950s, as African independence movements gained momentum and Vatican policy evolved, the church began elevating indigenous clergy to the episcopacy. Ekandem's episcopal consecration was historic validation. He demonstrated that African priests were capable of leading dioceses and exercising full pastoral authority. As auxiliary bishop of Calabar, he assisted the diocesan bishop, a missionary priest, in governance and pastoral care, gaining experience in ecclesiastical administration. His youth meant he would likely serve for decades, shaping the church's future direction. On March 1, 1963, Bishop Ekandem was appointed the first bishop of the newly created diocese of Ikot. This was a pivotal moment. Ikot diocese was carved from Calabar diocese to serve the growing Catholic population in the region. Ekandem would build this new diocese from its foundations, establishing structures that would endure for generations to come. As Bishop of Ikot, he served for over 2 decades, from 1963 to 1985. His leadership was transformative. He expanded the parish network, establishing new parishes to bring sacraments and pastoral care closer to Catholics in rural areas. He promoted vocations to the Catholic priesthood and religious life, encouraging young men and women to dedicate themselves to church service. He established Catholic schools and provided education while forming students in Catholic values. He built healthcare institutions, including hospitals and clinics that served both Catholics and the wider community. He strengthened catechetical programs, ensuring that Catholics understood their faith deeply. Ekandem's episcopal leadership extended beyond his diocese. From 1970 to 1973, he served as apostolic administrator of Port Harcourt, governing the diocese during a vacancy. From 1973 to 1979, he was president of the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria, leading the national body coordinating Catholic activities across the country. In this role, he represented Nigerian bishops in discussions with the government, mediated internal church disputes, and guided the conference's positions on national issues. He also served as president of the Association of Episcopal Conferences of Anglophone West Africa, extending his influence across the region. The pinnacle of Ekandem's ecclesiastical career came on April 27, 1976, when Pope Paul VI announced his elevation to the College of Cardinals. On May 24, 1976, he was formally created Cardinal Priest of San Marcello. This appointment made him the first Nigerian Catholic cardinal and the first West African cardinal in the entire history of the Church. The significance cannot be overstated. Cardinals are the Church's highest-ranking prelates below the Pope. They elect new popes and serve as papal advisors and often lead major dioceses. Ekandem's elevation meant that for the first time an African from West Africa and from Nigeria would participate in selecting the successor of St. Peter. It symbolized the Church's coming of age, its transition from dependency to partnership in global church leadership. That same year, 1976, Cardinal Ekandem founded the Missionary Society of St. Paul of Nigeria, the MSP. This was the first indigenous Catholic missionary society in Nigeria created to evangelize within Nigeria and beyond. For centuries, Nigeria had received missionaries from Europe. Ekandem envisioned reversing the flow, making Nigeria a missionary-standing nation. The Missionary Society of St. Paul trained Nigerian priests for missionary work and sent them to other African countries, Europe, North America, and the Caribbean. This initiative demonstrated a profound vision that Nigeria was not merely a mission field but a mature church capable of evangelizing others. The MSP continues operating today with members serving in various countries of the world. In 1976, Cardinal Ekandem became the first president of the Christian Association of Nigeria, CAN, an ecumenical body uniting Christians across denominations including Catholics, Anglicans, Pentecostals, and other Protestant groups. CAN was formed to present a unified Christian voice in Nigeria's religiously plural society. Ekandem's leadership of this interdenominational organization demonstrated his commitment to Christian unity beyond Catholic boundaries. His willingness to work with other Christian leaders built bridges and established patterns of cooperation that strengthened Nigerian Christianity. In 1989, Cardinal Ekandem was appointed Bishop of Abuja with the personal title of Archbishop, reflecting the importance of Nigeria's new capital. Abuja was planted as the federal capital territory, replacing Lagos, and establishing a strong church presence there was strategically important. Ekandem's appointment to lead the Abuja ecclesiastical territory at the age of 72 demonstrated continued confidence in his leadership. He served in Abuja until his retirement from active episcopal ministry on September 28, 1992, after 45 years as a priest and 38 years as a bishop. Cardinal Dominic Ekandem died on November 24, 1995 in Abuja at the age of 78. He was buried at the Abuja Pro Cathedral, his final resting place, honoring his service to the church in the capital. His death marked the end of an era, the passing of a pioneer who had witnessed and led the transformation of Nigerian Catholicism from missionary control to indigenous leadership. Ekandem's legacy is profound and enduring. He was a trailblazer who opened paths that others would follow. After him, Nigeria produced numerous cardinals including Francis Arinze, Anthony Okogie, John Onayekan, and others who built on foundations that Cardinal Ekandem laid. The structures he established in Ikot Ekpene diocese continue serving Catholics. The Missionary Society of St. Paul continues sending Nigerian missionaries globally. The Christian Association of Nigeria remains a vital force in Nigerian religious life. Beyond institutions, Ekandem's example inspired generations of Nigerian clergy and laity. He demonstrated that Africans could lead the church with competence, holiness, dedication, and vision. He proved that Nigerian Catholicism was not an imitation of European Christianity, but an authentic expression of Catholic faith rooted in African soil. His life bridged two eras, the missionary period when Europeans led and the contemporary period when Africans shepherded their own church. Cardinal Dominic Ekandem remains a towering figure in Nigerian and African Catholic history, a pioneer whose contributions shaped the church's trajectory and whose legacy continues inspiring the faithful across generations. Thank you for watching this edition of Back in History, and do remember to subscribe to the channel or follow the page for regular notification on every new video. I am your friend and host Ekpene, wishing you the best of time and bringing you the stories that shaped our nation and our continent. Until next time, keep exploring history with us.